So for something like Short Term 12, which is actually probably one of the better reviewed films of the year. I think it's 99% on Rotten Tomatoes. So you guys are tracking its theatrical performance and rollout, and positioning that with digital retailers in compelling ways.
Yeah, so this is a title that is being released in a quote-unquote traditional release pattern in windowing. So it's in theaters now, and later this year will come out digitally and on DVD, so cable VOD and transactional, and then ultimately on subscription platforms or television or both, depending. So this is really, obviously the one way to cut through the clutter is to have a really good movie. That really helps, and this is it's a really good movie. So people are going to the theaters to watch it, and they're really excited about being able to own it and to watch it with their friends when it comes out on ancillary platforms. And so, we already are having conversations with everyone, obviously on the physical side with the DVD retailers and on the digital side with all of the platforms, and feel, very strongly that this one will, that this title will sort of rise to the top just because of what it is. And then obviously, just this may be obvious, but the things that we always sort of focus on when we're switching from a theatrical release to an ancillary release is, just making sure very simply that our metadata is strong and that our art is strong and that our art translates to a digital platform. And so those are all conversations that happen on this title and any title that's being released in a traditional window.
Great.
Why did you, why with this title, why do traditional? Why not do day and date with a movie like this?
So for a movie like this, that even from the festival, from the start, from its inception, has been so well regarded and so well reviewed. There's not only is there awards consideration, but there's which is a huge factor in our release strategy, but there is a theatrical life to be had in this film, and people should be seeing this in a movie theater first if they can. And for titles like this that are just these beautiful little gems, when they find their audiences, there's buzz, but there's energy, and it just continues to grow and expand, to all of the eventual platforms. That's not the case for all titles. Some titles really do benefit from a day and date release, and we do that a lot also.
Yeah, and I think probably some of it, Short Term 12 is an awesome movie, but I think some of it probably also has to do with the theaters, that in terms of when you're thinking about a day and date release versus a more traditional rollout. The exhibitors are not too excited about day and date, so the theaters you can play vary depending on when VOD happens. So if you wanted to play a Regal Theater in the Regal in Union Square, you would have to wait a full 90 days at least typically before making a film available on VOD, whereas other theaters might be more flexible. So that's a component to think about as well.
I think the reviews, this is where the concept of do critics matter anymore? Abso-freaking-lutely, because some of the quotes and things that have been written about this film are rapturous, and you guys, I think we're probably on to something when you decided to release it at the end of August, early September, anticipating that its digital window 3 months after that would be during top 10 lists, knowing that it's going to be on a lot of critics' lists, knowing that it might be up for some Indie Spirit and Gothams and maybe Academy Awards even. So if you're Lincoln or if you're Walter Mitty or if you're another film with a studio budget, you can take an easier gamble on that. But that's where I think these reviews might matter.
But would getting good reviews mean that you can't be a day and date? I don't understand. I don't see the connection between being review driven and not doing a day and date.
I think sometime, because I think one, it would be that it can limit your theater opportunities, and which is a huge factor. And sometimes, I think, I'm not speaking for any company in particular, but just in general, part of the clutter issue is that there's content that isn't quite as good as some of the other content. And sometimes that content is released in certain windows with that knowledge. And there are some titles that make a lot of sense in a day and date window, whether or not they're going to be well reviewed, because maybe the marketing budget is only so big, and we can focus everything around that period of time. You know, so there's a lot of different factors, I think, in terms of how things would be
Well, I think
windowed.
it's knowing what you got. I mean, you know, Steve is talking about data and analytics, and you know, some films work better on certain platforms. I think some films are more conducive to day and date.